My name is Chris Cook. I'm the Managing Director of the Office of Communication and Marketing at Texas Tech University and Texas Tech Public Media. Texas Tech University is full of great communicators, and together we hope to bring you perspectives and insight that can help you in your field. Communication is what we do every day, and it's intricately connected to our success and failures. This is Communicators in a Cart. Everyone likes to complain when they get a parking violation, but if not for Eric Crouch and University Parking Services, traversing the campus would be a nightmare. As a matter of fact, he would rather not issue citations. However, rules are often broken. Eric and his staff are responsible for monitoring nearly 20,000 parking spaces and do a commendable job in the daily function of the university. Hey man.
Oh, hey Chris.
How you doing?
Good, how about you?
Good. You out here regulating the parking lot?
Oh yeah.
Always?
Checking on the parking lot.
All right, good. Hey, I'm going to get coffee. You want to go?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. You have time?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good day for...
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Good day to be out. Now, let me ask you this. Where's the intersection of the rules you enforce and then PD?
So we enforce all the parking, and then PD's doing all of the moving violations and traffic. Golf carts on campus, we treat like a vehicle.
So if I had Chief Boneth with me, he may say, I can't participate in this, Chris.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, even I've been towed.
Yeah, I got towed as a student. So parked in the housekeeper's spot and went to a biology exam. And I thought, oh, maybe it was an 8 a.m. exam. I was like, I'm going to biology at 7, I'll move. I remembered it walking back from biology after the test. And our accounting clerk in the department now actually was the person who was working the tow desk and released the car to me. So, she doesn't remember it. I distinctly remember that experience.
So we were talking earlier, I thought this was interesting. You came here as a biology major.
Came as a
biology
pre-med. Pre-med major.
How did you end up as the director of transportation parking?
That's what I tell people, that naturally led to transportation parking, right? No, I came here as a biology and pre-med major. Got accepted to a program over at the Health Science Center, and I'd been involved in student government and public service by that point, and set an orientation going, this isn't what I want to do.
Just kind of clicked?
So yeah, so then I was too late to change a major. So I finished out the biology degree and then went to the Center for Public Service and got a master's in public administration. My focus is environmental policy, actually, and so I'm one of those odd parking directors where I don't want to build more parking and have more cars. I want this balance between mass transit and driving and biking and walking. So
right. Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. It's good for the environment. Very sustainable. So very admirable. You guys, first of all, the service you provide is very important. Although recipients of tickets will push that aside.
Wouldn't agree with that.
I don't think they would agree with that. Maybe before they got a ticket, they were fine. Every ticket I've gotten, and there's been a handful, I've earned them. I knew I parked wrong sometimes I didn't realize it, but I was in the wrong spot. That was my fault. There's a lot of people on social media that actually most people on social media who come talk about parking tickets did not earn those. Mm-hmm. Is that accurate? Y'all are just out there arbitrarily picking
that's
people,
what you would
right?
think, yeah. I won't say we don't occasionally mess up. I mean, we do occasionally issue a ticket we shouldn't, but for the most part, you earn a parking ticket. I earned mine. I earned my tow that I got when I was an undergrad.
Same here.
Yeah. At the end of the day, parking enforcement is a service to the permit holders, because if you buy a parking permit, you expect you're going to have a place to park when you come to campus. And so that's a service to the permit holders. It's just not particularly pleasant when you're on the receiving end of it. But.
Right, and you pay for, a lot of people pay for a reserve spot, some people pay for an area, and you're right, you do expect there to be something there for you because you paid for it.
And there's so many of us now. I mean, we're 39,000 students and 5,000 or 6,000 employees and a couple of thousand visitors. And it's a logistical challenge.
Hiccups are natural.
To get everybody into that small space. Most people look at Lubbock and go, oh, it's a pretty rural place. But when you look at the Texas Tech campus, we've got 45,000 people crammed in a very small space.
Right.
So it's definitely urban density on the campus.
Now, y'all have been on the cutting edge of some technology and innovation in traffic and parking. One is the license plate readers.
Sure.
And that was, I remember when that happened, we got a lot of calls in our office saying, from media, saying, well, University X is thinking about installing this, and we're just trying to get some more detail and background on how it's worked for Texas Tech. But we got a lot of those calls. So were we one of the first to employ that, and then how did you discover that technology?
We were really the first to go fully electronic that way. The way it came about is Chancellor Hans had just come on, and he had made the announcement that we were going to grow to 40,000. And so one of the first questions is, how are we building 40,000 parking spaces? And my answer was, we don't want to build 40,000 parking spaces. That's too many cars. But one of the questions operationally we had is, how do we enforce a growing parking system with the same resources we currently have, so we don't have to keep raising fees and trying to find new ways to fund that. And so we started looking around for a technology solution. And we looked at RFID, and doing Prox cards. We looked at a couple of different things, and actually saw a documentary where Ohio police were enforcing car insurance in mall parking lots with LPR. And we thought, that works that's the same question we're asking. They're asking, do you have insurance? We're asking, do you have access to the lot? Went around and looked at vendors. No one was doing it, so we just happened to have the right talent in the right place at the right time, and went out and developed it. And it's been commercialized out now. There's a company based out of the Innovation Hub that's out there selling that to other universities. And it's been a great experience.
Yeah, and a lot of people have picked it up. I think a lot of universities, not just universities, other businesses, but universities have picked it up.
And hospitals.
Speaking of fees, the revenue that's generated, you're an auxiliary unit, right? The revenue that's generated from the citations and the revenue you bring in, how is that used? I mean, I think it's important for people to know that you're not just doing it to do it to fatten the bottom line, and we're not having a big, end of the year party.
It's a big revenue stream for the
it's
university.
A big revenue stream, right?
So citations actually make up about a fifth, about 20% of our budget. So the vast majority of our budget is still permit revenue, and that's where we want it.
Right.
I always tell people a perfect enforcement day would be everybody parks where they're supposed to and we don't give a ticket. That'd be great. The state doesn't provide really much or any infrastructure money for parking lots and streets and that sort of stuff. There's a little bit that comes in, I think, for streets. So if there's a parking lot on campus, it's being built and maintained and operated out of parking revenues. And so that parking revenue money is going into operating that program. It's doing the asphalt maintenance in the summers. It's doing construction and planning. It's also funding a portion of the police department and a portion of grounds maintenance to help with keeping the parking lots clean and keeping them up. So
it's not an a la carte system. So we need to paint the stripes in this lot next month. We need to increase our citations. Every year, and this has become humorous to me. I don't know if it's funny to you at all. I think it's funny, and I get a kick out of it. But I do, because I know you guys. I know a lot of you over there, and I know that y'all do a great job, and I know you're good people. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking today, but you guys do a great job and do a good service. But Carol of Lights, every year, they go through the roster and thanking people, and they get
and this year they didn't mention it.
And they didn't mention it this year.
Yes, I was so tickled about that.
But well, that's what I was going to ask. Every year, all of a sudden you get Texas Tech Police, and you get this little booze, but when traffic and parking comes up, it's almost become a tradition, and they left you out.
Yeah. It's almost like urban legend now. I mean, there's just so much out there. But
what are some of the programs that traffic and parking has in place that, because you do some programs that provide outreach for the community. What are some of those?
So we're trying to do other things besides just parking. So we're looking at all of the transportation system, buses, bikes, walking, parking. And then so some of the things that we look at also is how can we add value to that service for folks on campus. So one of the programs is Motorist Assist. So a gallon of gas, air up a tire, jump off dead battery, do a door unlock. We do a lot of those every year. Do a lot for guests on campus after events. When they discover after the football game they've locked their keys in the car. But we do 1,500 of those a year. We have several different amnesty or type programs, forgiveness programs for parking tickets. We do Pop-Tarts for tickets in the fall.
Which is very popular.
Which is
right?
very popular. Kellogg's even chipped in some parking Pop-Tarts one year, so, and they didn't have a parking ticket. Those go, Junior League in Lubbock has a program where they provide backpacks with food
Right.
for kids who
Right.
may not have food on the weekends. So there's that. We do toys for tickets around Christmas, and then we do Rec Hunger in the spring for the food pantry on campus. So, you know, the students had come to us several years ago, probably 10 years ago, asking, you know, can we do community service to work off our tickets? And so we said, sure, we'll come up with a program. So we came up with a way to do that and track that, but very few people ever finished.
Right.
It's just, their schedules are so busy, and
Right.
at the end of the day, they'd just rather pay the $20 ticket. And so as we looked at community service, we were trying to find, is there a different way to do those programs? So we thought this was a good way for them to still do that community service piece without having to take the extra time out of their schedule.
Well, I think those are great, and every year we get a lot of feedback on the Pop-Tarts for tickets, especially on social media. You see, well, this is a great idea, and someone else has heard about it. Eric, I can't thank you enough for visiting with us.
You bet,
And,
appreciate it.
And again, you guys do a great job. It's not always, you don't always get a pat on
It's
the
not
back,
glamorous.
but it's not
No.
glamorous, but somebody's got to do it, and you guys do it well, and you do it
Thank
with
you.
a smile on your face. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, appreciate
All
it.
right. Yes, sir.